Thank you for joining us today. This is Ken Boyd with Brimstone Firearm Instruction, my co-instructor Robbie Lammy, and we're going to talk today about sight alignment. And what you want to do in sight alignment is you have four things you want to line up. You want your center of exposed mass, or the bullseye, depending on what target you're going through, and your dominant eye. And so you want those lined up. That's the point A and point D, or your start line and your finish line. And your sight alignment is getting your front sight post and your rear sight post in line with that, and we'll show you how to do that. So the first thing what we want to do is recognize that we have two eyes, and with defensive marksmanship and a lot of marksmanship skills in general, you want to have both eyes open. And the reason why you want to have both eyes open is because we're like this all the time, and then when we start aiming, we have to contort our face to hold this shut all of a sudden. And it forces us, and it's easier for us to use our dominant eye this way, but that's still a lot of muscles. And in a defensive situation, I'm now blind all the way out here, and you don't want to do that. So what we do is we teach both eyes open, and it's a little bit more relaxed eyes, or relaxed face that way. Good? All right. So you got your center of exposed mass. Let's find out, and then we have our dominant eye. There is a technique to show your dominant eyes. And Robbie, I want you to go ahead and walk over there about 10 feet and face me. All right, so what Robbie's gonna do is he's gonna bring his arms out and form a circle with his hands. Go ahead and do that down here. Now bring it up and look at me through that hole. And so he can only, in that small hole, he can only look at it with one eye, and it just so happens that eye is his left eye. Robbie is left hand dominant, and he's left eye dominant. Most people are either left hand dominant and right eye dominant, and right hand dominant and left eye dominant. Go ahead and relax. Come on forward. All right, so I'm one of the few people, about 25% of the population, that is right-handed, left eye dominant. That really, as far as a pistol goes, does not change anything at all. So what we have to do is, once you find your dominant eye, now you want to take your dominant eye and draw a line from your dominant eye to the center of exposed mass, or the bullseye. That's your sight line. And what you want to do after that, you want to take your rear sight and your front sight on your pistol and bring both of them up onto that line. And that's called sight alignment. So once we get that there, the key thing is, once you bring your pistol up, number one is you bring your pistol to the head. You never bring your head to the pistol. And if you notice, I'm not turning my head and forcing my head to use one more dominant eye over the other, because the fact of the matter is, whenever you're looking at something, you are always using your dominant eye. If you just let nature take its course, you'll be able to figure out, you'll be able to see through your dominant eye. All right, so when you do that, you come out here and you bring the pistol to the head. I don't bring my head to the pistol, just like that. You want to do the same with a rifle and a shotgun. So what you want to do is, even if it's a rifle or a shotgun, is you want to bring it up to your head. You don't want to bring your head to the rifle or the shotgun. So you brought your pistol up, and how you have your rear sight post and your front sight post in your vision. How you want to line those up is, if you have a bullseye, or you aim for the center of exposed mass, you put your front sight post on the center of exposed mass or your bullseye. You want the bullseye, or whatever point, your point of aim, you want that centered at the top of your front sight post. Now one thing I'm going to mention is, a lot of sights have either 3 dots or white marks, all of that stuff. Those are for low light conditions, when you can't see where your front sight and your rear sight end and begin. Only use those in low light conditions. All else, always go with the shape of the front sight post and rear sight post. So again, bring your front sight post, you put the bullseye or your point of aim at the dead center of the front sight post. You want the top of the front sight post to be even with the top of the rear sight post. We call that even height. And then there's going to be a gap on either side of the front sight post in between the notches of the rear sight post. And you're going to want to have an even amount of light on both of those. So as a shortcut to remember this, we call it even height and even light. Even height and even light. There, as long as your top of the front sight post is centered on your point of aim and everything's lined up, that's sight alignment.